Just licking it off the ground. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're good. Kelly, don't pull. Sit. Hey, sit. Kelly, sit. Sit down. Good girl. a muddy girl? Who's a muddy girl? Did you get muddy? You having a good time? You look like you're having a good time. Hello, viewer. I hope you have been well these last few weeks. As you can probably surmise from the earlier footage in this video, I was on vacation last week. We went to a place called Starved Rock State Park. It is in Illinois, and it's a couple hours from where we live. So we thought we'd go see it. It's a state park we hadn't seen yet. Well, I hadn't seen since I was a child, but there were supposed to be some waterfalls there, and I love waterfalls. I love especially rocky areas and rocky cliffs. My dream is to one day see the ocean surrounded by, not surrounded by, but rocky cliffs along the shoreline, and to see the ocean that way, where the cliffs and the ocean sort of meet. I kind of want to go to some place like Ireland or something to see something like that, but we thought we would go to Starved Rock State Park. Obviously, by its name, there's a lot of rocky areas, and there were supposed to be some waterfalls, but the waterfalls they come from when the snow melts in the winter, and so you see the waterfalls early spring when the snow is melting. And by the time we got there, which was early June, that's when they start to dry up, and they were dried up when we went. However, we went to, oh gosh, I should have looked it up how to pronounce it. It's, I think, Matthiessen State Park, or it might be Matthiessen or something, I don't know. But Siri on maps pronounced it way differently than I do. But that state park had some waterfalls, so we did get to see some waterfalls on vacation, which was made, you know, my heart beat a little faster. It was very lovely, and luckily my energy for some reason has been up relatively high. I say relatively because I never really have high energy, but relative to what I usually experience on a day-to-day basis, my energy levels were pretty high. So that was nice for vacation. And I think part of it might have been the relief after being stressed out about work for a while and feeling like my time was work and sleep. And then just having that relief of, okay, I have some time off. I have some big open time slots that I can do with as I please. And maybe it's the relief from that had my energy levels up, because when stress goes up, so do my narcolepsy problems. So maybe, you know, the stress going down. Also, it was the beginning of my cycle. So I've noticed by documenting my energy and mood levels that I do have an increase in energy when my cycle starts over. It, in a way, is annoying because it meant I was on my period. So, and it was kind of a painful one and a heavy one. I hope that's not too TMI for you, viewer, but so that made it difficult as far as taking my daughter swimming, things like that. But the exercise was good, and I did more exercise than I had done in a long time, and it felt good. And it felt good that my energy levels were up, and just overall had a nice time. So we went to Starved Rock State Park, and then we went to Matthiessen State Park, and then we went the next day. we did a little antiquing and thrifting. Just a little bit. We stopped in an antique store to show my daughter the types of things they have in antique stores, and she seemed to like it and found a rock in agate that looks really pretty. And she's really into rocks and geology, and also rocks and their sort of meanings and magical properties. But so that was an exciting find for her. And I joke that she got a souvenir, she got a rock from Starved Rock. Also, while we were thrifting, when we came back, my energy levels, like, I was tired when the day we came back, obviously, and had to rest, but I noticed I wasn't as tired as I expected to be from a long car drive. And the next day, my energy levels were okay, so we decided to do some thrifting around our area and see what we could find, because I was really wanting a 6-ring personal sized rings binder just to play around with a little bit. And I wanted to see if I could find one at a thrift store. And I found one at a consignment shop, actually. And it is this Kate Spade personal size rings binder. I think it's personal size. It's red. It has this gold accents, and inside is all red, which when I looked it up, a lot of times the insides have like polka dots or are a different color. It was hard for me to find one with an all red inside, so I don't know what makes this one special that I had a hard time finding it, but it's an all red inside, and it has where it says Kate Spade in New York, sort of along the material in the back here. It seems like it was unused, so I wonder if the person just didn't know what they had. Maybe it was a gift or something. Maybe they were just a fan of Kate Spade and somebody gave them this as a gift, but they weren't into agendas. I don't know. But it doesn't seem very used. The original inserts are in here, and they're unused. There's like addresses. So it's got a place for this address book, a place for birthdays. Again, not really used. A place for restaurants. And a place for notes and doodles. And then a to-do list. So I think these were the original inserts that probably came with it. And yeah, this was an interesting find, since I just happened to, I see a lot of people using rings planners now and rings for commonplacing, and I just kept thinking I wanted to revisit it. So it was kind of a fun find to see a rings binder like this, a personal agenda like this, available at a secondhand store. I paid $20 for it because I knew that it was worth more than that. And I looked it up on eBay, and they seem to sell for around $80, $90, $100, somewhere in that range. And so I figured, because it's not really a color I like, I'm not into Kate Spade. This just isn't my style, and I don't know how I feel about a zip around pouch like this. I feel like it would get in the way from me using it. It's that barrier that would keep me from using it. So I'm thinking I'm going to sell this on eBay. And then use the money I get from it to buy one that I like and can play around with. I have this one that I bought from AliExpress. I haven't done anything with it yet. Oh, I was seeing how a postcard would fit in here. Or not a postcard, index card. I love index cards. And I haven't done anything with it yet other than just add some things I bought for it. And it's a cheap one. And I'm going to play with it to see how I get along with it before I spend the money on a more expensive one. But I thought if I do want a nicer one, I was thinking maybe Moterm. Then Moterm or Filofax or something. Then the money I get for this one, I can use it to buy one I would like. So that's the plan with that. So if you happen to be a Kate Spade fan and you know more about this and why it's all red inside instead of having the polka dots the other ones had, I prefer the all red one, I'll tell you that. But it's, yeah, if you have any information about it, I would be curious to know more about this agenda, which I will probably just end up selling, but I am curious about it just because it was a find. So that was my fun thrifting adventure. I don't have any, I haven't created any layouts for this yet. I drew up a quick one. It looks like this. This isn't one I would actually use. I was just testing how I could get the printer to print on this size paper. And so I just created this layout real quick and then printed that out. So other than playing with how I was going to work out printing on this paper, I haven't done much with it. And then I experimented with, I have 5x7 paper, which I love. I don't know why, I love keeping that around. And it is great for if you buy, for example, I buy Megan Rhiannon's stickers a lot, the printable stickers that she makes, and they are A6 size. And instead of printing it on 8.5x11 paper, which is sort of the standard in the US, I printed on my 5x7 paper and it fits nicely on there without wasting a bunch of space like it would on 8.5x11. So that's kind of cool. And then I experimented with trimming it down and making my own sort of inserts for in here. You could see it's wider, just slightly wider than the other inserts that are in here, because I thought it would be nice just to have the extra room to work with. And it still shuts nicely in here and doesn't seem to be bothered much, except like this is a little long, then it gets in the way here. I don't know if that would be a problem or not. It might be, but all I'd have to do is just trim down the top a little bit more, and that's an easy fix. So I'll be experimenting though with making layouts for this and seeing how I get on with it. Mostly what I plan on using it for is things that I'm consuming, writing sort of reviews and stuff on it, like books and TV shows. I want a layout for that so I can keep that in here. And then I would also keep maybe commonplacing. I'm not sure, because I like commonplacing in my traveler's notebook style notebook. So I don't know if I would stick with that. Maybe I'll experiment with doing it in here for a while and then move back to the other one if I don't like it. The reason why I want to experiment with it though is because, like I said earlier, I love index cards. And I like the idea of being able to arrange them by category and rearrange them as I see fit. And so, sorry, my mind went in 10 different places there and I couldn't figure out which train of thought to hop on. So I thought that the fact that the pages in here can come out and be rearranged would give me that sort of index card sort of feel. And when I go to archive the pages, my commonplace pages, I can arrange and rearrange them according to topic or category or however I see fit, which would be nice. So I think I'll experiment with that a little bit this month. The next thing I wanted to say is that as far as notebooks go, that's what I've been using. I'm thinking of using these field notes. I bought these a while back. See, this one's kind of scuffed up. It came that way. But I bought these a while back and was thinking I would like to just carry it around and use it for thoughts on the go. I have a notebook for making notes on the go, but a sort of notebook I can dirty and scribble and write down thoughts and ideas as they come to me. And I want to try to maybe dig deeper on some thoughts that I have and ideas that I have, and I thought this would be a nice place to do that in, just because, I don't know, it's easy to carry around, I guess, is the big reason. I've used field notes in the past and didn't care for the paper, so we'll see how I get on with it. But I love the covers, though. I'm a sucker for the covers. And this is like a birch bark cover. They come in 3 in a pack, but I gave one to my spouse, so that's why there's only 2 there. And other notebook updates. Let me see. I have my planner I designed still going strong in there. And yeah, still going strong in here. And this was last week when we were on vacation. I was able to sort of do little journalings about what we did. And I did my weekly reflection down here like I was planning to. And I think I did that last week too. Let me see. Yeah, I did that last week too. So being able to do my reflections in a small box like that is helping me to do them again. And I find they're helpful, especially when I go to therapy and my therapist is like, how have you been doing? And I'm just like, I don't remember. I can just tell you what I'm feeling right now. I can't really label my feelings very well, but I can tell you that I feel uncomfortable or I'm feeling okay. But when I do these weekly reflections, it helps me when I walk into therapy. That's what the point I was trying to make. Because then I have a general idea of how my past couple weeks have been going. And so those are my notebook updates. And it's my little bat charm. Books. I have been, while we were on vacation, I started reading again, and it's been slow going. Not the fault of the book. It's just getting back out of a reading slump is really difficult for me. But I found a book that I'm really enjoying, which is this one, called Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield. And it has so many things that I just love. I'm not very far in it, as you can see. But it's the opening line says, "The deep sea is a haunted house, a place in which things that ought not to exist move about in the darkness." So that line right there just really gripped me. I love that line. I've seen it before, like people quoting that line from this book, and just the way it opens up like that, it just, it gripped me. And I love stories that take place in isolation. That's why I tend to gravitate towards the Gothic style type stories. It's because Gothic stories take place in some sort of isolation, whether it's physically being isolated or an isolation of the mind. Somehow there's some sort of isolation going on. And not to say that this is Gothic, but just that's the sort of link between Gothic stories and this story, because just as I love stories that take place in outer space, like a spaceship shuts down and you're just stuck in the middle of nowhere and you're isolated, and how are you going to get help and things like that. I love those types of stories. And this one takes place, well, part of the story takes place under the sea. So Miri, I think it's Miri. I hope I'm not mixing it. Miri. I think Miri is the one that is the marine biologist. And then Leah is her wife. So Miri goes on these expeditions. I think she's like a marine biologist, and she goes on these expeditions in submarines and, you know, goes on these dives. And this time when this book takes place, she doesn't come back, I think, for 6 months or something like that. They lost track of the submarine, didn't know what happened. She doesn't come back. I think they said 6 months, which, wow, that's a long time. And maybe it was 6 weeks. I might be getting that confused. But either way, a long time. And so Miri comes back, and she is acting strangely. She's not quite herself. She's having these physical problems where she's having a hard time eating things unless they're salty, and she has to run the tap water all the time, and she's like bleeding out of her skin and out of her gums, just weird things like that. And so Leah is trying to figure out what is going on with her, and she wants her wife back. And so the story goes back and forth between Leah's point of view, who is trying to learn what is happening with her wife and how she can help her, and also the frustrations with her wife that happen since this change occurred. And also there's some flashbacks to, in Leah's point of view, to how they met and little things they did for each other, and it's deeply romantic in that way. And then there's Miri's point of view, which you don't get Miri's point of view in the present time. It's always her point of view takes place on the submarine itself. So you get to experience basically the submarine going offline and then sinking without any way to stop it, and how they're going to get out of this and things like that. So I'm learning bit by bit what happened to Miri and why she's the way she is right now. I don't know what's going to happen. I haven't read much about this book because I wanted to go into it without knowing anything. I knew it was sort of one of those, I don't know, there's certain movies and books that I just enjoy more when I don't have any expectations of it. And so I purposely avoided too much. I think my spouse recommended it to me. He was reading an article about books that were coming out at the time, and so they told me about this book, and I was like, I have to check it out. It sounds very chilling. And I don't know, there's something about, I went through this period of time remember when that submersible with those guys that were viewing the Titanic imploded? I couldn't take couldn't get my mind off of that. The idea of being in this little tin can that is just sinking, and then something goes wrong and there's nothing you can do about it. And being under the sea where it's this whole other world and you're just in isolation. There's nobody to help you. And so, and I've always sort of gravitated towards those stories. I read a lot about submarines going wrong and what people do to survive, or if they survive, that kind of thing. So this story is just right up my alley, and I'm really enjoying it. It's hard to get out of a reading slump, I feel like, but when I tell myself, okay, just read a chapter, that's all you have to do, or just read a page. If I don't feel like reading a chapter, just read a page just to make some sort of progress. And then I'll find that I'll actually go through several chapters when I get myself to do that. So, because the story is just so gripping. But I am loving this. Yeah, stories that take place in isolation, that's my jam. And that's honestly how I tend to define sort of Gothic literature. Well, not me. I got it from somebody who is smarter. I'll have to look it up. But that Gothic stories take place in isolation, in deep, deep isolation. And that's what makes them Gothic. Because there's elements of Gothic stories like the haunted house or the vampire or decay and such like that. But what truly makes a Gothic story Gothic is that deep, deep isolation. And I mean, it's why I enjoy Alien more than I enjoy Aliens. I know that's blasphemy to a lot of people who are fans of Aliens, but I love things that feel isolated, or stories where you're isolated. But anyway, love this book, definitely recommend it. I haven't finished it yet, but I will talk about it more when I do. Some other books I have that I'm looking forward to: Sea of Tranquility by Emily St. John Mandel. I actually don't know anything about what this book is about. Again, I'm just going into this without knowing a thing. I've read Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel, and I loved that book so much. It's one that has lived inside of me in a deep way. I was just thinking about different parts of the book and my mind went in 10 different directions. Just the idea of having your constant, like what is your constant? That is something that sort of haunted me and stayed with me from that book. But along with other things, it's a great book. Station 11 is amazing. Read it. So I picked up this book because I just trusted the author to take me on a nice journey. And I'm really looking forward to it. My spouse thought it was funny that these both have the word sea in them. They were like, so there's a theme going on here. I was like, yeah, but the Sea of Tranquility is on the moon, so it's kind of different. And then the other day I bought The God of Endings, which was another one my spouse had read the description to me of from that article that they were reading. I think it was on Polygon or something. And it just sounded really intriguing, and I like the cover a lot. I do judge books by their covers, I will tell you that. So I don't know. So this one's about a vampire living through the ages and trying to, I don't know, make it through things. Like, things are, from what I understand, start off quiet and like she's leading this quiet life, but it's a long one, and then all of a sudden these things start happening that sort of cause some chaos, and it sounded like an intriguing book. So if I get through this one, I will definitely share if I found it good or not. And I might not read these books in that order. I might finish this book and decide to read a different book. I may read another book while reading this one. When I'm not in a reading slump, it's not uncommon for me to read 3 or 4 books at a time. So I'm slow getting through each book, but once I start finishing them, then I have a lot that I've finished. And because sometimes I'm reading nonfiction and fiction at the same time. And so, I don't know, in just different types of books, there's usually a romance in my little cycle of books that I'm reading. Yeah, but that's what I'm looking forward to reading over break. I might not get through these all in June, depending how slowly I read, because like I said, I'm getting out of a reading slump, so I've been kind of slow. I'm a slow reader anyway. I like to really absorb things that I'm reading, so I don't read too quickly. I like to analyze things as I'm reading them as well, which is why I did well as an English major, I think. But the struggle for me as an English major was that all the assignments were heavy readings, and a lot of them that you have to get through in a little period of time. And I want to slowly just enjoy them and become immersed in them. And so part of what I didn't like about being an English major was having to rush through things just to meet a deadline. But I digress. Some updates about the vlog, Hazy Metaphors. Obviously, I came out with this one. I am thinking when I go back to teaching, though, that the vlog will be probably a monthly thing that I do, because when I'm teaching, everything is just chaos, and I don't have much time to think and do things because I'm either sleeping or teaching or prepping to teach, which doesn't give me much time for other things. But I have Fridays off, so I was thinking, and a lot of times on Fridays I'm recovering from the week and I'm just sleeping a lot, but I've been thinking a lot about this idea I kind of came up with in my head, which somebody smarter than me probably came up with it a lot sooner than I did, but just this idea of productive rest, because I think sometimes I sleep to escape, and I'm tired, and I'm sleep deprived, so obviously I'm sleepy, but I give in to sleeping too much because I'm also avoiding life stuff and avoiding myself and avoiding my thoughts. And so I was thinking about this idea of a productive rest in which I still nap because I need my naps because I have narcolepsy. If I don't nap, my body will make me nap. So I'd rather choose when I nap. And so I will still take naps, but limit them, be a little more strict on limiting them to 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minute increments, and then get up after that and try to do something that is restful but productive, whether it be reading or stretching out my body in some way or taking a little walk. Something that is not too high energy. So I'm still getting rest, but I'm getting a more rejuvenating type of rest that makes me feel better when I come out of it than if I just slept all day. Because once I sleep all day, I just want to keep sleeping. I don't want to stop. And that's not good. So I'm looking to try that out and put that into practice, this idea of productive rest. And I think something to help me do that is I will make Fridays the days I record for Hazy Metaphors. It gives me a reason to get out of bed and to do something, and setting that intention. If I have to be somewhere, it's easier for me to get up and get moving. Not that it's easy, it's just easier. And so having that thing, that sort of deadline, like, okay, I have to record something for Hazy Metaphors today, then that will hopefully get me out of bed. And I can do something that is restful, but in a productive way, and sort of record that, whether I'm reading or I take a little time to declutter something small to sort of get that dopamine flowing. Or if I just work in my planners, I can record that, and then at the end of the month, put all those Friday videos together and make a vlog that way. So it'll be more of a monthly vlog than a vlog of my weeks. That's not to say I'm only going to come out with a video once a week or once a month, because I plan on doing more stationery chats, and I want to do narcolepsy chats, and I'll do some flip throughs of some of my notebooks, since I think a lot of people are here for the notebook content. I shouldn't say a lot of people. My one viewer, you're probably here for the notebook content, and I'm blabbing on about other things. But that's the idea of what I will be looking into for the future of this vlog. I also want to change the look of the vlog to something that is more me. I went with this, like, I do that typewriter effect in between. So my storage was full, and so the camera cut off, and I'm hoping I deleted enough to wrap up this segment of the video. Basically my intentions for June are to do a little bit of decluttering, a little bit of movement and exercise, developing healthier habits basically, and also taking some time for productive rest. As far as today goes, I need to set up my planner for the day or for the week. I haven't done that yet. It's already Wednesday, so I need to do that soon before I forget what happened on the other days and record that. So I think that's what I'll do next, and then I'm going to take my daughter swimming, which I won't take you with me for that part because I keep her stuff private. And when I come back from swimming, I'll probably be too exhausted to do much else, but I hope to get a little bit of cleaning done and maybe make some inserts for the Filofax or the rings planner thing I have. We'll see. We'll see. But anyway, I hope that wasn't too boring of me blabbing on about these things, and I hope tonight you have the sweetest dreams. Come here. Come here. Good girl.